Imagine you're in the market for a new computer. You head to your local electronics store and ask an associate for help. They walk with you down the aisles and detail the differences between the computers. This HP here has an Intel Core i7 quad-core processor running at 4 GHz with LGA 1150 socket and 8 MB of L3 cache. But this Dell over here has an NVIDIA GTX 760 graphics card with 4 GB of GDDR5 memory. But would you rather have a 512 GB solid-state drive or a 1 TB hard disk? You take all that in, and you're convinced some of those words had to be English. But it's very confusing, and you end up buying the computer they recommend without really being sure if it's the right one for you. Does this sound familiar? If it does, then you're not alone. This is just one example illustrating the confusion that surrounds modern technology. You might be saying, I'm not a computer person. I don't need to know how a computer works. And that's the problem. Yes, you don't need to know the minute technical details that a computer scientist would know. However, having a fundamental knowledge of technology to interact with it on a daily basis, or having the knowledge necessary to make informed decisions relating to technology is not called being a computer person. That's called having technical literacy. So what exactly is technical literacy? Well, if you look it up, you'll find something that looks like this. The knowledge needed to use technology responsibly, effectively, and efficiently to access, create, manage, and communicate information. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds a bit too much like a textbook to me. I prefer to think about it more like this: understanding your life. Now, before we start having an existential crisis, let me explain. The use of technology is no longer confined to the computer person. Every demographic is seeing technology become an integral and unavoidable part of their lives. Think again about that scenario from earlier. Everything from buying a new computer to debating state and national policies, from elementary school education to global research, from driving home to having a warm house when you get there, all involve the daily use of technology. As of January 2014, 90% of Americans own a cell phone and use the internet, with about half of the population owning a smartphone or tablet. Those are incredible numbers, but still don't do justice to the direction that society is heading in. If we look at the numbers for young adults in America, they're even higher, with cell phone ownership and internet use at 98% and smartphone and tablet ownership at 83%. That is mind-boggling, and those numbers don't even include teens under the age of 18. This means nearly every young adult you pass on the street has a computer in their pocket. So, with the prevalence of technology expanding, why is there such a lack of technical literacy? One factor is the lack of technology and technical education in schools. Many different programs have been created to put computers and tablets in schools, use new technologies like smart boards, and adding computer science classes to middle and high school curriculum. And this is a step in the right direction, but there are many schools that are still very behind technologically. Access to the internet and a computer at home is also vital to understanding how technology affects their lives. As of January 2014, 70% of American households had access to the internet, but the demographic split tells the real story. That number starts to fall for the less than $30,000 salary bracket, and again for the 65+ age group, down to 37% for people without a high school diploma. It is nearly impossible to understand how technology affects our lives if we don't even have access to it. So what can we do? Well, unfortunately, the solution involves a lot of work to begin to solve, but many different organizations have taken strides to move us in the right direction. Organizations like US Digital Literacy and the National Council of Teachers of English have sites and articles dedicated to talking about the importance of technical literacy. Companies like Microsoft have sections of their website dedicated to proposed technical literacy curriculum. Even the US government has a website dedicated to helping educators spread the importance of technical literacy to their schools. But what can technical literacy do for me? Is all this effort worth it? Well, being technically literate comes with a lot of benefits. The first and most basic of which is convenience. How many times have you had something go wrong with your phone or computer, call tech support, and sit through many frustrating minutes as someone who can't even see your computer tries to help you? While companies are improving their customer service, having a basic knowledge of your technology to know some basic remedies can save you a lot of time, money, and frustration. But this is nowhere near the most important benefit. The internet can provide us with seemingly endless amounts of information. And so finding the information that you're looking for can be difficult. Having search skills or a basic knowledge of how search engines work can help you find the information that you're looking for far more efficiently. But by far, the most important benefit to being technically literate is the ability to make informed decisions. Technology becoming a fundamental part of our lives, the way we are living those lives is changing. Lawmakers are constantly debating new policies to govern these new technological frontiers. How are we expected to vote for delegates that are going to be making decisions on these policies when we don't even have the knowledge necessary to understand their platform? A lack of technical literacy also comes with a pretty hefty cost. According to the Internet Crime Complaint Center, over $781 million was lost to internet scams in 2013. Many different types of scams are used, but most, if not all of them, can be prevented with a few simple techniques. People also have these illusions that their data is completely protected on the internet, using phrases like, "my password's unbreakable," or "it's in the cloud." Every bit of data sits on a physical server somewhere. You can never assume anything you delete is ever actually gone, and every single password is breakable given enough time. I got in an argument with a friend in high school who was positive that his data on Facebook was safe because they had a strong password and set all the proper security settings. I was trying to tell him that if someone really wanted his information, they could just take it, but he was insistent that he was protected. So I said, "We'll see." So I went home and drafted up a fake Facebook email saying something like, "Your account security has been compromised. Log in to protect your account." Made it look all official and sent it off. Sure enough, about 5 minutes later, I got an email back with his username and password in it. I wrote him down on a slip of paper and brought him into school the next day and said, "You really might want to change these." And I did that not to be a jerk, but to prove my point. That understanding how data is stored and secured on the internet is the only way to ensure that the data that defines your life is as safe as it can be. One of my favorite educators, Carl Sagan, once said, "We've arranged things so that no one understands science and technology. This is a prescription for disaster. We might get away with it for a while, but sooner or later, this combustible mixture of ignorance and power is going to blow up in our faces." That doesn't sound very fun at all. But we can fight this. The best way to combat ignorance is through curiosity. If we don't understand where we are, we limit where we can go. So let's start asking questions. Take a second to wonder how this vital part of our lives works. Learn something new, and share this knowledge with the people around you. As we move forward, technology is only going to become a bigger part of our lives. Technical literacy allows us to keep up, and it can't wait. Thank you.